Send your ringside to the men who will call tonight's fight, Barry Tompkins and Rich Murata. Gentlemen.
All right, thanks very much, Chris. Well, you know, Chris mentioned just a little bit ago, quoting Mike Tyson, saying you never know until you get hit in the face. I think a number of boxers have said that. That's what happened to Andre Ward, but I think the bottom line is how well he handled it, and he really did dominate the fight after that.
Well, he learned a lot about himself in that fight. He knows he can be hit, though, and he knows he can be hurt, so he knows he's not invincible as well. And I think this is all part of the makeup of Andre Ward right now. This is a very serious youngster, but he will take the lesson that he took out of that fight, and he says, I need to be mentally prepared every time out and not relax in there.
And I think that's the best thing about him. This guy hasn't lost a fight since he was 14 years old. Even John Sally lost a couple of games, I think, when he was 15. But this guy hasn't lost since he was 14 years old, and he has the mental part of that game, I think, down pat.
Well, I really like his focus. He's a very serious-minded young man. His whole camp there's not a lot of hangers on. They got their eyes on the prize. They know where they want to get to, and they're taking every step along the way to get there.
That's what he says. It's all about family. Those are the people that are around me. Let's take a look at the numbers and see how they match up. Ashworth is going to be his opponent. He's the guy that says, I'm coming right after him. This is a guy from Louisiana. He's had some tough times as well. Only had 4 professional fights, but he says, I'm coming right at him. I'm going to try to get him out of there. 32 years old, no tomorrows for him. Andre Ward just trying to avoid the minefield that he fell into when he got hit in his last fight. He says he learned from that. He says he's not looking back. He's going on. And right now we're going on to the ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Pechanga Resort and Casino here in Temecula, California. As we have a big night of action in store for you, and it's all brought to you courtesy of Goose and Tudor Promotions in association with the Pechanga Resort and Casino. This bout coming away also brought to you in conjunction with Square Ring Incorporated. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside, Dr. James Jenkin, Lou Filippo, and David Denkin. And our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge of the action, is Ray Corona. All right, fans, here we go. 6 rounds of boxing in a middleweight special attraction. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with red trim, he is fighting out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. He weighed in at 162 1/2 pounds. His record stands at 3 wins, only 1 defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Roy Danger Zone Ashworth. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner in this 6-round special attraction, wearing white trunks with black trim, fighting out of Oakland, California. He weighed in at 163 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the professional ranks with the record of 2 wins, no losses, 1 win coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2004 U.S. Olympic gold medalist, introducing the undefeated Andre S.O.G. Once again, a referee in charge, Ray Corona, now to give instructions. 6 rounds of boxing scheduled.
Let's go, Ward. Mouthpiece. Put his mouthpiece in. Let's get a mouthpiece. You got your mouthpiece on? All right, gentlemen. This is good here. This is good here. Listen to my commands. You hear me? Touch gloves. Touch gloves. God bless.
Let's take a look at the rules here in the state of California that apply to this fight. 10-point must system, 3 knockdown rule, not in effect. No standing gate count. Fighter can be saved with the bell only in the final round. Either the referee or the doctor can stop the fight. The headbutt rule would go to the cards after the 5th round. Of course, this is only scheduled for 6. So Ward in the white, Ashworth in the black with the red trim. And let's see if Ashworth is true to his word.
Let's go, gentlemen. Good fight.
He says he's going to come right after him and a winging right hand to start.
Ashworth said, I want to be like a little Mike Tyson. I'm going to come at him. I saw him get hurt in that last fight. We got a wrestling match here to start.
Nice. Go to a boxing match and a wrestling match breaks out.
And Ray Corona, the referee, is having a tough time getting the 2 to break apart. They're going to get a talking to right now.
Good idea.
Look like fools. Come on, this is live TV. Let's go. Step back.
That's what's important.
That's right.
Doggone it, it's TV.
Entertainment value. Ashworth. A lot of dancing, not much action. Ward will try to work the jab. He has a very effective jab.
Ward is very professional, Barry, and he likes to utilize a professional style. As often happens, though, when a real amateur star starts, when they throw him in with youngsters, there are a lot of unorthodox fighters that they face early in their career, and they don't have a chance really to do their best stuff in there.
I think that's absolutely right. And again, this is getting a little out of hand here. It's one thing to want to brawl.
Ray Corona's just having trouble controlling the two fighters.
I will take points. You both will lose. You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? Get back. Get back. Time in.
But it's quite clear what Ashworth wants to do here. He wants to turn this into a brawl. He wants a pure sixer.
No, that's not a bad idea, but you have to just be careful. I think that, honestly, that's his only chance to win the fight, in my opinion.
Well, I'm sure anybody can see, and I'm sure he knows himself, that with all of Ward's amateur background, that he's got a big edge and skills on him. So how does he win the fight? Well, he turns it into a brawl, a war, something different than what Andre Ward is accustomed to seeing.
No. Take a step back. Watch yards. Let's go.
The first round has been nothing if not entertaining, I'll say that.
Ashworth's hands actually are fairly quick.
Throws a lot of outside-in punches, though. His punches are certainly not straight nor sharp.
Well, that comes from not being experienced, not having a lot of training time. He's fairly new to the business. I mean, at the age of 32, he's only been fighting as a pro for 9 months, and now he's going to get a point taken away. And he's pleading his case to the crowd. He's been hitting on the break since the start of the fight.
Now, you know, the other thing that we should point out, his last fight he won by way of disqualification. He said the guy in there with him last time he considered to be very much like Andrew Golota, and he won the fight. The other guy got disqualified. Now he's kind of borrowed a page out of that book.
Now, this is a continuation, though, of the learning process for Andre Ward when it comes time to seeing every possible thing that you could see in the ring.
The difference in the fight right now is Ward's jab.
Now, Ward is trying to foot feint him and get him to react with his lead foot.
Take a step back.
See, that's the thing about what I like about Andre Ward is he seems to me to be pretty savvy for a guy who's had 2 professional fights. We're coming back.
Act like gentlemen.
Well, we got a roughhouse brawl in round 1, which is what Ashworth wanted to do. That was his very intention. So Ward is having to learn how to put up with that. And he answered back. It came to the end of the round. The bell rang, and Ashworth wanted to continue on. Look at him, nose to nose.
Don't push.
Start of round number 2.
Referee Ray Corona went over to Ashworth's corner between rounds and told him, look, you're going to lose the fight because of stupidness if you continue.
Well put. You guys are looking good.
I mean, boxing is a control sport. It's not, even though it's a violent sport, it's not a sport that you can do well if you don't use your head.
Well, that's very true, and what Ashworth is trying to do is to make Andre Ward lose his control, lose his cool, and Ward is doing a good job of not doing that.
Yes, well, in fact, it's Ashworth that's losing his cool.
He seems to have a lot of hostility here tonight.
Yes, he does, yes. Good counter right hand by Ward. Ward told us today he's trying to learn to set down on his punches a little bit more. In fact, he said an interesting thing. He was talking about to us about Larry Holmes. He's a guy, too, who watches a lot of old fighters. And he said, I like the way Larry Holmes used to own a fighter with just one hand. He wouldn't even have to use his other hand until he felt it was time to get the guy out of there. Then he did, and the fight was over. Talked about Larry Holmes against Jerry Cooney.
Yep, with that jab, and then when he drops that big right hand down, and Ashworth mugging him. Ward turning southpaw here.
Actually, Ward hit him with a bolo punch.
Ward's got some little tricks of himself, Barry, and I think he's beginning to show them to Ashworth now as Ashworth charges in. The fight is getting more into an orthodox fight now, so Ward is able to utilize his jab and utilize some of those tricks. He's coming from down low with his jab, right at the waist, and he's getting power in it as it comes up.
That body shot got Ashworth going backwards.
See where he's holding his left hand down low, and he's looking for a power jab. Andre's a work in progress himself now. I mean, despite his Olympic gold medal, I mean, he's got a ways to go. He's got a lot of finishing touches to put on himself. But the thing is, he knows that. And his camp knows that. His promoter knows that.
Yeah, no, that's, as a matter of fact, that's what I like about he and his camp. They really seem to me, having been around these guys for a long, long time, that they've got their heads screwed on straight. You know, they're not thinking about a championship next week. He wants to fight every couple of weeks, he said, if he could, for the first year and a half.
Take a step back. Take a step back. There you go.
No timetable for a championship shot. This is just step 3.